Hi everyone. Okay, try again. Hi everyone, and welcome to the Free Range Diva. Welcome new subscribers. Hello, and I'm so glad you're here. Recently I saw a video by our little poet. That's the name of her channel, Little Poet. Her name is Susan, and it was a video that she did about 6 ways that you could relieve stress, particularly at this time of year. And it gave me an idea because, and I'll link her video below because it does offer some the things that she's researched that are proven to lower stress levels. But I had an idea that I would sort of take that and run with it based on my personal experience, because stress and particularly anxiety is something that I've coped with or had to cope with all of my adult life. And I've developed a few skills that help me not only at this time of year, but throughout the year, deal with anxiety and stress. So stress occurs when you get overwhelmed by something immediate in the moment. Anxiety is that sort of looming sense of disaster that usually happens at the back of your mind when you're faced with how things can possibly go wrong if something doesn't happen. It's that dreaded if my car doesn't start and I don't make it to this meeting on time, if my health fails, if whatever it is that you need to happen doesn't happen, if I can't get this loan, etc., etc. And basically what that is just a loss, is your body's reaction to a loss of control. If you don't get what it is you think you need in order to not have something really bad happen to you. Because you know how it is. Too much, you've got to get presents for everybody. Or let's say that you've got your shopping list, and that you're going to blow the budget, and you're going to have to live with that next month. That is a stress inducer. That's also an anxiety inducer when you sit down to actually deal with that. So let's just jump into my solutions, shall we? So journaling is something that I have been doing for years. Here's some of my old ones. You can tell I have a flair for, I love colorful books to write in. And I started initially dealing with some health issues. Weight gain associated with menopause, weight gain, hot flashes, and as well as some food allergy intolerances. And so I started keeping a food journal as well as a how I felt that way journal. And then eventually that morphed into, because mental health is just as important as anything else, it morphed into a gratitude journal or a, whatever I needed to say that day journal. And so this is my latest one. And I did something different with this one. I started, the first thing I did is I took a page and I wrote down here things that I am grateful for in life. These are just general sort of things like I'm grateful that I have a place to live today. I'm grateful that I have a good doctor. I'm grateful for you guys. And I listed about like a dozen or so of those for the days when I just couldn't, there was just nothing that I could come up with that I was grateful for on those days. It's always good to go back to basics. You're grateful for your family, my dog, you get the idea. And then, every day, and there's no particular number, I would just list. Some days I just write. I'm grateful for this and this and this and this and this. And other days it may be 2 or 3 things. But I do, try very hard to list every single day something that I'm grateful for. And the reason is because forming that habit trains you to look beyond your circumstances at life. We can get so caught up in stuff that's not going right that we forget about those things that are going wrong. And it just becomes like a habit, where your brain, instead of defaulting to the negative, it also notices the positive. So, and there are no rules. I mean, I can remember a very, very dark day back during the summer when, the memory is still a little bit painful. There wasn't a whole lot. I couldn't think of anything that I was grateful for. My heart was so full of darkness. So I sat down and I poured it all out into here. All of those dark thoughts and, the things that I couldn't control, I put them here and I left them here. So that the next day, that day, I could start over from a clean slate. And many times, that's kind of where we are, is we need to get to that place of clean, of having a new start, a fresh start. And in the same vein as journaling, I also do a daily devotional. And again, that's just so that I can start the day in a more positive space. I mean, the day may go south, it may go sideways, I don't know, it may go up, but at least I'm starting the day from a sense of anticipation and being positive that, things are not going to go wrong that day. And the other good thing about journaling is that it forces you to examine if what you think is happening is really true. Sometimes we think the glass is half empty, when really, if we take another look at it, we realize it's not, it's half full. Now, when it comes to anxiety, that's a whole different situation, because you can't determine whether a glass is half empty or half full if you can't even see the glass. And that moves me into the second, number 2 on this list, which is affirmations. Affirmations are a great tool for when life circumstances are going out of your control. You can still control how you respond to them. And affirmations can train you and help you to respond in a way that's healthy and positive. And I'm sure you all probably have heard of them or may have experience with them. And honestly, if you go on YouTube and start looking around, there's lots and lots of psychologists and self-help people that talk about affirmations all the time. In fact, if you Google holiday stress affirmations or holiday affirmations, you come up with something like, I release my expectations of others. I know that they are behaving the best that they know how to at the moment. I allow their challenges to be their challenges. So that's kind of the idea, is I can't change them at the aunt or uncle or whoever that is just impossible to deal with at the relatives at the holiday party, but I can change me. So whether you have a ton of relatives, that you need to manage, or if you're spending the holidays alone, or if your expectations of what the holidays should be always leave you disappointed when the reality sets in. And that's something that I have dealt with, over the years. But the reason I wanted to bring up the affirmations is because I recently saw a video by Erin Henry, and I will link it below, about how people use, the correct way to use them. It's not like you get up in the morning and decide, I am capable of handling this particular situation today. No, is to save your affirmations for when you are faced with the situation. So when you're about to open the front door to the onslaught of those relatives that you need to manage, that's when you say, I release my expectations of others. And when you start applying your affirmations directly to the situation, I can tell you from my own personal experience, it's like a whole new me walks into the room, a much more confident and and warm and happier me. So the next tip that I have for you is to give yourself permission to not get everything done. This cycles around priorities. But, honestly, the world is not going to come to an end if you don't get your famous green bean casserole on the dinner table this year. Or whatever it is. If the tree doesn't come out at, the way that you wanted it to, it's still a tree and it's still pretty. So, organize and prioritize what you can do. And if you don't get to something, it's at the bottom of the list. It's okay if you don't get to it. This year, because of the issues that I have with my back, I'm not going to be dragging our, 8-foot tree up from the basement and assembling it in the living room. Forget it. I'm not doing that. This year, we'll go out, hopefully in the next couple of days, and buy, like a little tabletop tree that we can sit on a tabletop and put our few presents around it. And that's going to be it. That's going to be Christmas this year, because I don't have the, the energy to decorate a tree and hang lights all over the place. The family's not going to hate you if you don't have your famous casserole. And realize that you are perfect at being you. So you don't have to be perfect at anything else, because nobody can be you as good as you can be. And if being you means that I'm not getting that done today, then that's the way that it's supposed to be, because you are perfect. And in the same vein, just make sure that you watch the words that you say about yourself, because sometimes we can be super critical and say things that we would never think about saying to another person about about ourselves. And really getting back to that journaling, sometimes you have to ask yourself, is that really true? Because often it isn't. Whatever we think our shortcomings are really aren't shortcomings. It's just like anxiety. Having anxiety can be considered a shortcoming, but I consider it a strength, because when you overcome those things that can, paralyze you, that is proof and a celebration of how strong you really are. Next tip. How many of them are there now? And this is something that I actually saw in a video recently by Kendra Atkins talking about productivity. Whatever time of day is your most productive, whether it's in the morning or if you really get ramped up in the afternoon and into the evening, do your bath or shower and your mundane tasks at the opposite time of the day. So if you're like me and I tend to wake up in the morning energized and ready to go, then I don't want to waste, that productive time in the shower or doing dishes or whatever. I would rather just jump in and get my work done. And then by late afternoon, when my brain is totally fried, then that's when, I go and do the dishes and I take my shower in the evening. It may seem, it may seem simple, but I've been doing this for the last couple of weeks, and it really, 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 has made a difference. Next, enjoy a few pleasant diversions. Take 10 to 15 minutes, even 20 minutes during the day to do something that makes you happy. Whether it's making a cup of tea or a chai latte, or in my case, having a protein bar and watching YouTube, go ahead and indulge that to give yourself a chance to recharge. Throughout the day, maybe, do some deep breathing, or step outside and, let the sun wash over you for 5 minutes, or turn on some of your favorite music, whether it's Christmas music, or in my case, lately, Machine Gun by the Commodores. I cannot hear that song without putting a smile on my face and needing to get up and jump around and dance and stuff. So go ahead and indulge in those things that can change your mood. Next, go through the motions. When you maybe just don't feel like dealing with it's too overwhelming, the tree and the cleaning and the cooking and the whatever. Sometimes, well, actually all the time, the activity of actually doing the thing will change your mood about how, as far as how you feel about it. So this is like acting 101. This is the first thing you learn, is that doing the specific action will trigger a specific emotion. And if it's something positive, like making, a window display or a tabletop display, you're going to start feeling more positive about that. And just in general, you're going to start feeling better. And then finally, lists. There is nothing so satisfying as, checking off stuff that you need to get done as you get it done. I tend to write down lists everywhere. I make, any ideas of things that I want to do later, or this is my Free Range Diva Bible, if you will. But if you look in here, you can see there's notes everywhere. There's lists. I mean, stuff ideas that I've written down for videos, or, things that I want to research. And just dealing with this makes me crazy. So what I've started doing, I should say, for going into 2018, look at this. And I also keep like notepads, everywhere, so that I can write. If I get an idea for something, I have the notepad nearby so I can write it down. So what I've decided to do this year is I got a little notebook like this, a little tablet, and you can see I've already started writing in it. So I keep this close by, and I'll probably get one more, so maybe I have one upstairs and one downstairs. But when something occurs to me that I need to do, or there's notes that I want to make on something, or something I want to research, I can, I have this right here, and then everything is in here. It's not flying, there's not little pieces of paper flying all over my rooms. So I hope, but yes, make your lists and celebrate when you check stuff off. And if it doesn't get done that day, move it to the next day. And if it's something that really doesn't need to get done, just get rid of it altogether. And I hope that if you follow these little tips and tricks, that your holiday season this year will be a lot less stressful. All right, so I hope you have enjoyed these my lists and tips and tricks, and just the benefit of some things that I've learned along the way. Again, if you did enjoy this video, then please give it a thumbs up. And for sure, if you haven't subscribed, please do, so you won't miss my next video. And Lord knows what that's going to be, but there will be another one soon. So, oh, I know. I think I'm going to demo some skincare. Okay. So everyone, in the meantime, have a wonderful week. Have a stress-free week. Take care of yourself. Take care of others. And I'll see you again very, very soon. Okay? Bye.